Hey guys, it's Jessica from POC Books, and today I'm here with a lot of historical recommendations for you. So the Historical Romance Readathon starts on the 14th and goes through the 16th, so it is a 3-day weekend readathon. We do have a bingo board for the challenges. I am hoping to read 3 books, maybe 4 if I can swing that, because one's going to be an audiobook, but we have a lot of different prompts and I wanted to recommend some historical romances for those prompts, especially like the POC Author or Written Before 2000 or Purple. So I have a lot to get through. I have read some of them, I have not read others, but I wanted to recommend them in case you wanted to read them. Even if I myself have not read them, they're out there as options. So I'll go ahead and get to some recommendations. So the first category I'm going to recommend is POC Author, which is Person of Color. And I have a lot on here. I have only read 2 of them of historical romances. I think one other author I have read her contemporary, but I obviously have Beverly Jenkins. This one actually, she's wearing a purple dress, so this counts as purple on the cover. This one's Something Like Love. I haven't read this yet, but Destiny's Embrace or Surrender. I think it's Destiny's Surrender is my favorite by her so far. I love the whole Destiny series. You do have to read that series in order though, and my favorite's book 2, but those have purple on the cover. I think book 1 does. Book 2 definitely does. This has purple on the cover. A lot of Beverly Jenkins have purple on the cover. I love her. She is queen. That's all I can say. We also have Alyssa Cole. She has a whole Civil War series. So this is An Extraordinary Union. She is a spy and he is a part of the Secret Service, so he's a detective, and I'm really excited to read this. This is actually our Ravished by Romance book club pick for this month, so I do have to read this month, but I'm going to read it closer to the live show date so that someone has it fresh on their mind. But I'm excited to read this. I know Alyssa Cole has had great reviews for historicals. There's also Sherry Thomas, who I have not yet read. I own one of her books, but I don't remember which one. I started an audio of her London series, but I wasn't that big of a fan of it, so I do definitely want to check out Sherry Thomas at some point, but I haven't yet, but she is a POC author. Courtney Milan also writes some historical romances. I did read one of her contemporaries and I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to check out what she has to offer in the historical genre. There is also Grace Calloway, and I have not read her either, but she's a POC author as well. Emily Howard wrote The Beast of Bestwick. This one I believe is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I've seen this cover around a lot on Instagram, so I might own this one, but I might own the Stacey Reed one. They both came out with books that were the same kind of cover, but one was red and one was purple, and I can never remember which one I own and who wrote which one, but this is by her. We also have Stacey Reed, who has the cover that looks like the previous book in a different color, but she also wrote Accidentally Compromising the Duke, which is purple, and I think it's purple, and that's why I wrote it down. This one sounds really good. She wants to be ruined so that she can get out of a marriage to someone, and chooses the perfect husband for herself, and then accidentally goes into the wrong bedroom to the Mad Duke, and this guy is actually a single father and he's trying to find a good mom for his 2 kids. So this sounds really good, and it's definitely on my TBR at some point. Then Jeannie Lin writes some Chinese historical romances, so I have not read her, but I would love to read one of her books soon. And the last one is by Rebel Carter. It's called Heart and Hand, and I know Mina from Mina Reads has read this. It sounds so good. So there are 2 ex-Union soldiers who are in love with each other, but they want a bride to marry them both, and so they put out for a mail order bride, and our main character is that mail order bride who decides to answer and get married to them. So it sounds good, and I'm excited to read that one. Alright, so the next one is Published Before 2000. I do have a big stack of authors that have published before 2000. I've read most of them, not all of them, and some of them are still publishing, so if you have a favorite author who has published before 2000, I would recommend checking out their older works. I tried to double dip, so I did pull some that were also purple. So we have Prince of Dreams by Lisa Kleypas, and if you own a different cover or if you get it from the library of a different cover, it totally still counts. So there's also different covers of Prince of Dreams, but it's purple in one of the editions, so you can count it. I don't care. Nobody's going to be checking you to see what you're reading and not reading, so this definitely counts. I've Seduced by Virginia Henley, which has this gorgeous step back inside of it, so it counts for a step back. It's purple on the cover. It was published before 2000. I haven't read it, but I own it and it's really pretty. Kathleen Woodiwiss is also a classic author who's published before 2000. This one is The Flame and the Flower, and this one does have a purple cover. It's purple on the cover. It's like purple hued, but the back's definitely purple. And so I don't know what this is about though. I know that hers do have some consent issues in them, but I do want to read her at some point, but she's definitely a classic author that can count for this challenge. My My personal favorite, Judith McNaught. She has tons that she published before 2000, including A Kingdom of Dreams, which is one of my favorites. There's also Loretta Chase. She is a classic as well, and this one is a beloved book in the booktube community, and it is Lord of Scoundrels. This is our main character gets into an interesting relationship. I don't know really how to explain it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my absolute favorite. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but this is some people's all-time favorite historical romance. And of course, Joanna Lindsey is always an option for this challenge, and we read her book Hearts of Flame last readathon as the group pick, and I absolutely loved it, so pick up that if you want to. It's a Viking romance. This one is what I'm thinking of picking up for the pirate romance category, is Gentle Rogue. This is obviously a pirate romance, and I was gonna read the other one, The Magic of You, maybe? People told me to read this one first before that. I think they're both in the Mallory series, possibly. I don't ever read books in order, so I should check on that, but Joanna Lindsey is always great for before 2000. I also have a huge stack of pirate romances for reading a book that takes place at sea. These are either pirate or like sea captain. I typically go off the title or the cover, and sometimes they're a sea captain. So we have The Pirate Prince by Galen Foley. This one I believe is book 2, but it's Cressly Cole, and I didn't know she had a pirate series. So this is The Price of Pleasure, but there is a book before this. But I am so excited to see that Cressly Cole wrote pirate romances. So I need to find book 1, but this is one. The next one's a pirate romance, and it is Bride of the Wind by Shannon Drake. I'm pretty sure this was before 2000. Shannon Drake's also a classic historical romance author. The Magic by Robin Lee Hatcher, which has a gorgeous step back on a ship. I always just look for covers and step backs that have ships on them because I need a good pirate romance. The next one is The Wildest Shore by Lisa Ketch. There's A Promise of Gold by Joan Druett. Across a Moonlit Sea by Marcia Canham. I have a bunch of her books that I've been meaning to read. She has some Highlander romances as well, but this one is He Sails for the Queen, so that's interesting. Captive Secrets by Fern Michaels. The Game by Brenda Joyce, which also has a really fabulous step back that I just posted last week for my step back Saturday. And A Pirate's Pleasure by Heather Graham. So this one I recently bought too, just for the cover because I really like it. I do not have any recommendations for in a series because I think most historical romances are part of a series, not all of them, but a lot of them are. You probably will have one that's part of a series. Our book pick is Lady Sophia's Lover. I have a stack of books in my hand, so sorry. This one is our group pick, and it is purple on the cover. It is by Lisa Kleypas, which is one of the challenges, and it does have a setback, which let me try to show you one-handed. I don't want to drop all the books in my hand. It's got a setback, and this one is also part of a series. It's book 2. I've never read book 1, so I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but I'm gonna read it anyways. I always read series out of order because I just read what sounds good. Another purple book is A Scandalous Deal by Joanna Shupe. I love Joanna Shupe, and this one is purple, so perfect. She's amazing. I love her. The first book is The Rogue of Fifth Avenue. I love that series. I don't know what it's called. Then we have Dark Warrior by Donna Fletcher. This one's also a gorgeous purple, and she's wearing a really pretty purple dress. One of my favorite historicals also is The Secret by Julie Garwood, and this has purple on the cover as well, at least in this edition, so it would count. This one's more of like an indigo, but this one is The Rogue Not Taken by Sarah McLean. I haven't read this series, but it is book 1, and I feel like it's kind of purple. It goes into purple in the bottom, and I feel like her dress, you could argue, is a purple. We also have The Hunter by Kerrigan Byrne. This one is an assassin story, so he is hired to kill her. And it's book 2, I believe, in the series, but I read it all out of order. I read book 1, and then like book 6, then book 4, and then book 2. You don't have to read them in order. I love this one. And my all-time favorite historical, and probably my favorite of the year, is The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie by Jennifer Ashley. The original cover's blue, but this one's the new one, and it is purple in the background with a gorgeous red dress. I definitely recommend Jennifer Ashley. She's my favorite. This is one of my favorites. Ian's on the autism spectrum, but they don't know what that is back in the 1700s. I don't know what year this takes place, but he was placed in an insane asylum when he was young, particularly because of something that he saw, but it was a way for his dad to get rid of him, and then his brothers kind of help him get out of that, and so he is misunderstood a lot. He doesn't feel like he can have emotions, and he just thinks differently, and our main character Beth falls for him, and it's very adorable. She's a widow, so It's amazing, and I would definitely recommend this. So those were at least 20 romance recommendations for you. I definitely also recommend Sophie Jordan. I loved This God of Mine. I think that's what it was called. I love everything Tessa Dare writes. The Castle Ever After series starts with Romancing the Duke. That's amazing as well. These are all just like random recommendations I'm spouting off so you can use recommended to you. Any of the books in here, I haven't read any of those pirate romances. I did enjoy Lady Pirate by Lindsay Sands. That one was really great as well, but I don't even know where my copy is. I've heard Jude Devereaux is also a really great older author, and Catherine Coulter I think is another one, Candace Camp. There's a million historical romance authors. So I would love to hear what you guys are reading for this readathon. If you have a TBR, please link it down below. I would love to see it. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day.